Hey guys, welcome back to Creativity Level Zero. I'm Jim,
I'm Steve.
and thanks for joining us today. So, Steve,
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you about
You want to talk to me? All right.
a very important topic we have
Okay.
is when is it officially nice out?
When is it
Yeah, when
officially
is it nice
nice
out?
out?
Because today it was so nice that I saw people breaking quarantine left and right, running outside.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nice out.
I was going to say I have no idea how nice it is outside because I haven't left my house in a few days now.
Since the quarantine, yeah.
My cell phone does tell me it's 66 outside, so
Hmm.
that's pretty nice.
It's a
Pretty good.
nice, yeah. It was. I was sitting outside, and it was that weather where it's a little cool out, but the sun is so hot that you're just like all warmed up.
Right, right, right.
Yes, it was the best.
So you're trying to say like what temperature is the perfect
Yeah, or
temperature?
what like when does the nice weather start? Or like what is the day? Is this? I mean, do we
The
count this
day.
as the first day of spring here? Even though,
No, we had a couple weeks ago. We had some like 70, 80 degree
oh,
weather.
that's right, that's right.
Yeah, and that's when everyone was going outside. I went to my parents. We played frisbee in the yard.
Oh.
Had a cigar. It was nice. Relaxed.
Keeping your parents healthy with that, I see.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All right, so for today, the topic I had in mind that I wanted to talk about
Okay.
was a topic that I think we're both incredibly passionate about, but also incredibly not knowledgeable. And I'd
Okay.
use another word, but I couldn't think of something instead of not
I feel
knowledgeable.
I feel sad that I'm passionate about something that I have no knowledge
No,
about.
there's a lot of things. That a lot of things fit into that category, Steve.
Oh, what? That's
Yeah.
news to me. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about everything.
Okay. All right. I believe you. So I wanted to talk about movies.
Okay.
So movies is I think something that everybody can relate to, including us. And
That's
I
right.
also think it's something that most people would say, "Oh yeah, I know a bunch about movies," but you don't know anything
Okay.
about movies. That's kind of how I picture myself. You know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like to say that um, I enjoy movies. Like I love going to the movies.
Oh,
That
I
whole
know.
movie experience of going to the cinema
Yep.
is one of my favorite things. Where you
So
like
do you think that's
sit
gonna go
down, you have
away?
some. No, I don't think so. All these streaming services like they offer movies, but the movie industry has such a hold on like going to the movies that they don't release stuff to everybody else until it goes to the movies for you know
Yeah,
and
like a
then
week.
it gets released to everyone. So I don't, at least until these movie industries make their own streaming service, maybe then
True.
they'll just be like, screw it, screw the movie industry. We're just gonna have our own streaming service, and you can just watch the movie from home. Um,
But you're right.
but
It is a different experience.
yeah,
Like the Netflix company, they like made a few movies straight to Netflix. I
right,
just saw one with Mark Wahlberg a few days ago, and it was decent. Like I wouldn't have went to the movie theaters to see it, but it got me to thinking. Like, well, maybe that's their plan. Just get the big names in on these direct to Netflix movies or whatever.
yeah. So I mean, Netflix and Amazon, Hulu, they're all making their own movies, but
Yeah.
still, the big budget movies are not Netflix.
Right. Right.
They'll make good movies here and there, but still the big budget movies are, you go to the
Right,
movies.
right, right, right. And it's always interesting to me, like, which movies are popular because sometimes you watch a movie or you watch like two movies and you look at one and you're like, yeah, this one was really good. And the other one, you're kind of
Right.
like, oh, I didn't like it as much. But the other one made like 10 times the amount of money
Yeah.
or was so under budget that it was considered profitable. So they make a sequel and you're like, how is that even possible?
You just get a bunch of no-name
Oh,
actors.
yeah.
You just, barely do any CG, and you're good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, when we go to the movies, I think you're the typical. I'd say maybe you're a little bit above the typical moviegoer. I'd say
Okay.
the typical moviegoer may or may not get snacks, and they may or may not go to the movie theaters to see a bunch of movies. They may just go to the one or two a year, or maybe not a year, but like maybe one every other month that they're like, wow, that's a really good movie. I got to see it in theaters.
Right, right.
Whereas
No,
you're
I think actually the average person probably goes to the
you cut out
once or twice a
completely,
year.
but I'll assume you said something contrary to me.
Did
What
I
did you
really
say?
did I really cut out?
Yeah, you did.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
we got the new for
Um,
those on the podcast. We got the new headset for Steve.
trying to see if that would fix it.
Apparently that didn't, so we'll have to figure something out.
Okay. But I think the average moviegoer just goes to 1 to 2 a year. I think you're right on that front. I know my parents, they never go to the movies ever,
Wow.
maybe once a decade. Go to
Dang.
the movies.
They're like,
Yeah.
we had a kid. Maybe we should celebrate. Hit the
Yeah.
movies.
The last movie they saw was that Queen movie. Just because
Oh.
they say, oh, we love Queen. We need to go watch this movie. I'm so excited to watch it.
Did you go with
But
them?
no, I didn't go with
Yeah,
them.
it
They had a
wasn't.
date night.
Oh, looking for another kid or just a date night?
No. Not possible.
Yeah, that's one that I definitely didn't see.
I watched that one when it came out.
Like on TV or something.
Yeah, on TV. I forget how I watched it. Just saw it. It was good. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely appealed to our parents' generation
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
more than ours.
Yeah.
Because they knew all about Freddie Mercury's life and
Right.
the life of Queen and stuff like that.
So I found that also interesting too. Now that you're talking about gossip, a little bit.
Okay.
Right? Is that, and maybe just because we're guys, I don't see it as much. But I felt like my parents' generation were really up and up with the gossip. I know my mom even had like People magazine, and my mom does not strike you as like a person who's interested in what celebrities are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But even she wanted to know what celebrities were doing, and it made me wonder: is that generation?
My parents, they say all the time they don't care about celebrity gossip. But every time Entertainment Tonight comes on, da 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 da, they always. I know the tune. I've never watched the show, but
It's
just
been
because
that
it's always
common.
been in the background since I was a child. Entertainment
Wow.
Tonight, they still watch it. Crazy.
Yeah. So, and I think that's different from our generation where we may see something on Instagram or Facebook or possibly in a news article, but I don't think we seek it. Or at least I feel like I don't seek it.
Right.
And,
It is kind of shoved down our throat.
yeah. Especially with like the way that the news is now, or should I say the entertainment business is, where
Right.
like instead of the article saying, the article title being like what you would write when you're in school, when they say the title should be representative of what you're putting here, they'll be like, can you guess what he said? And you're like, I don't know what he said.
God, what did he say?
I know. Click.
I need to click on it.
Yeah, and then all
that's
that.
just because a lot of the money made from online articles and things like that is ad service that comes onto the screen once you click on it.
Yep. And it's so interesting how that changed though, because previously media was essentially funded. It was paid for by people who wanted to read it. But now it transitioned to become free, and anytime you push something to free, I don't think it can ever go back. And now
that's exactly it. Well, the problem is that the internet inherently is free, at least these days.
Yeah.
In the old days, you used to have to buy your AOL CDs. But now, the internet is free, and so people expect everything on the internet. And browsers, they'll just give you all the websites. All websites are pretty much free to access, easy to access. So everybody has this inherent, feeling that everything on the internet should be free. And anybody who, and myself included,
same.
If somebody says, "Oh, you can view this webpage if you pay us $5," forget that.
Yeah, you're like
website that'll have the exact same information somewhere else. So let me just go find that information for free.
Yeah, and it's weird because like that extends not just to media, but it could be like I guess pictures are kind of a type of media as well, but like, pictures and stories and like this podcast, for example, there's nothing really stopping people from just re-uploading something or taking something, putting it over here from there, and it creates a
Right.
weird dynamic for some of these businesses.
Yeah, well, that's the times these days, and you have to go with the times.
Yeah.
So
Well, there was an
yeah.
interesting. So I was talking to my sister's husband about Amazon because they were listing some stuff on Amazon, and he was
Okay.
essentially telling me how broken the system is because he said, if I want to list an item to sell, the best place to sell is Amazon because so many people shop there. The
Right.
problem is when you list your product there, Amazon gets to collect the data that the purchasing patterns of the person. So let's
Right.
say you have like three products. You have like perfume A, perfume B, and perfume C, right? And
Right.
then everybody seems to love perfume A, and like nobody's buying B and C, but you still sell a bunch of different things because you're like a
Right.
storefront. Amazon will see that and be like, that perfume A is making a lot of money, and they only care about perfume A. So I'm gonna take that product and copy it, and then I'm gonna slap Amazon's name on it. That's where they come with the Amazon Basics, which is actually why I try not to buy Amazon Basics for that exact reason. And
Okay.
and then
What is Amazon Basics, by the way, for
it's just
myself and the viewers? I mean, the viewers. You know.
oh it's just Amazon's brand, kind of like if you went to ShopRite and they had like ShopRite brand and then like the whatever cut like whatever, I don't know, the bread will have like the ShopRite brand bread and then like the Italian brand bread and then like Wonder
Sure.
Bread, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. I
The
see. So it's
difference
like their
though,
own brand
right, but the
of
difference
products.
is when you go to the supermarket, they're all there and you can pick and look and take what you want. On Amazon, since it's search based, not only do they then copy your product, but then they list their product and they don't list
First.
yours. Yeah, or they'll
Right.
list it
And they
further
list
down.
it cheaper.
That's
Yeah.
right. They'll always undercut you because they know what your prices are. So like it
Yeah.
ends up being this weird thing where what he was saying was if you don't list it on Amazon, you aren't going to make a lot of money because you have to have enough foot traffic through your own website.
Right.
And if you
And
do,
so another interesting thing about Amazon, I feel
go
like we're
ahead.
bashing on Amazon at
Oh
this
well,
point,
they're not a sponsor,
but
so
that's true. Not yet.
not yet. That's right.
Uh,
Maybe we'll redo this whole episode.
that's right. But things that sell online, they need to follow these things called at price, and so that means the product owner set these price floors that the price can't go below. You can't sell this price below because then you'd be undercutting even the supplier.
Oh
And
wow,
Amazon doesn't care about it because they don't have to deal with the supplier itself. They can just buy it from
that's right.
unknown some other source and they could sell it for a cheaper price. So buy it in bulk and so it becomes cheaper in some other random thing and then they could sell it online at a lower price than the supplier itself. And so that's what's really that's what and everybody doesn't care. It's the same product. That one's cheaper. I'll buy the cheaper one.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a tough situation because like as
Yeah.
soon as Amazon came out, they are gonna crush any warehouse, any store that has to keep an inventory. Like
Right.
I went to Target a few weeks ago. Like Target is a great store. They have a lot of products, but if they have the same product as one that's on Amazon, people might go to Target, look at the product, then go on Amazon and buy it.
Yeah, I know a
Or
lot of people who do that.
right? Or they may just not even go to Target and just go to Amazon directly because they don't want to go to the store.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So anything that's a brick and mortar, say.
Right. And so I'm worried though because of that is that like you'll have this weird thing where it's sustainable now because you have the stores. But once all the stores close down, if you get into this position where like Walmarts and Targets and stores are closing down, even grocery stores are closing down and people are always shipping things, it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah. But the thing is that again, you got to go with the times, right?
mhm,
Same thing as before. You got to just play Amazon's game. You should have direct access to suppliers. You should be able to like talk to them and say, look, we're getting undercut from Amazon, so it needs to be some sort of agreement, and they also need to sell. Like you got to play the game at that
right,
point. You
right.
can't just stay stuck in the old ways. And that's what Toys R Us did.
Oh,
They
and I
went up.
miss Toys R Us already.
I know, it was my favorite thing as a child.
I
Like
know.
to think these days that children can't just go into a Toys R Us
It's a
and
shame.
just see walls and walls and walls of toys everywhere
Oh,
to
it
play
was
with.
crazy.
I would
Toys
have
R Us
hated
used to
working
have
there.
like sections. They'd have like a Lego section, like a
Ah, yeah, my
Barbie
favorite.
section. They'd have sections of everything, and then you go to Toys R Us, they had that toy. Whatever toy you wanted, they had it. And
Right.
they had every type. Like if you wanted, let's say, a Power Ranger, maybe a store like Kohl's or Target might have like a few Power Rangers in their store. But if you went to Toys R Us, they had every Power Ranger.
That's true. Yeah.
Wanted- Yeah.
I used to be a big collector of Power Rangers.
Yeah, I actually have a Power Ranger story for you if you want. When I was a
Okay.
kid, my mom. This was like I think Black Friday or whatever. Oh, so
Uh
this
huh.
was back before online shopping.
Okay.
And we wanted the green or the red Power Ranger. I forget which one of the two.
Uh huh.
And what you had to do is you had to go to Toys R Us at like 4 a.m. And when they opened their doors and you go in, you had to run to the Power Ranger section and see if they had it. If they didn't
Right.
have it, you had to go to a different store because back then calling stores wasn't possible because one, they didn't really do cell phones back then,
Yeah.
and two, they didn't really do the inventory check like they kind of do nowadays.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Just called you.
It's not very computer based. It
Right.
wasn't as high tech as it was.
Right.
It
You'd
is.
call, you'd get like Becky, and she'd be like, I don't know, we got a shipment and I don't know if we put it out yet, you know.
Yeah. We got a shipment of toys this morning and put it out, but I don't know if there was the green Power Ranger on that.
Yeah,
You'll
exactly.
just have to come in and see.
Right. So we went to a Toys R Us at like 4, whatever time in the morning, 5 in the morning. Ran there, they didn't have it. We went to
Right.
a second Toys R Us, which was like 30 minutes away, because in Jersey they were actually pretty far. Also didn't have it. And by then, we were like, oh, I guess we're not going to get it because, oh, mind you, back then, they only made so many toys. It's not like now when there's just like 100,000 million of anything. They used to make toys and not know if the toys were going to be popular. So they didn't have
Right.
the infrastructure to produce them all. So
Yeah.
then there's this drought of toys. So we missed both Toys R Us's. Neither of them had it. And we were driving back, and I think it was a Kohl's. That's why we said Kohl's the first time. It was either Kohl's or Target. And we were driving back, and we just stopped at one of those stores to like return something, and they had it. And
Really?
yeah, because like
So it was a complete
it
accident.
to have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got the Power Ranger, and then like we had to wrap it and put it under the tree. Yeah, it was good.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. The only time I've had something like that was Nintendo Switch.
Oh, the
That
recent
was only a
Nintendo
couple
Switch.
years ago. The recent Nintendo Switch.
What happened
yeah.
with that?
Well, so I had told it might sound conceited, but I expected that I was going to get the Nintendo Switch for my birthday because it was coming out at the same birthday. And
Okay. And you told your parents or a family
I
member?
told my family
Okay.
about it. And
But they know nothing about pre-orders or any of that jazz.
yeah, that's exactly it. So they didn't pre-order, and then they said, "Oh, well, we can't find it, so you're not gonna get that because it's sold out." And I said, "Oh my goodness, why didn't you pre-order?"
Right.
That was the thing.
They're from a
And
different
so-
generation, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. They just expect it to show up at a store and then find a Nintendo Switch and then buy it, but no, that wasn't the case. And so for weeks upon weeks at a time, every single morning, every single afternoon, I would go to every Target and Best Buy and GameStop along the way to work and on the way back to see if the
Dang.
Nintendo Switch was. And it took like 3 weeks.
And when you
Yeah,
so where did you finally get it?
I ended up doing some sort of weird bundle on GameStop. They just said, if you buy from us, we'll give you this bundle. You'll get it in 2 weeks, like assuredly. So I still had to wait another 2 weeks upon. But yeah,
Dang. That's
it
crazy.
was the worst because I had so many friends that had pre-ordered.
Oh
it.
yeah.
They were
Right,
all
and they're
playing
just
it
getting
and
the
telling
first games, yeah.
Oh, worst.
They're ruining all the storylines for you.
Mom and Dad, I'll never forgive you.
True. Yeah, I didn't know the Switch was that popular.
Oh yeah, they sold so much when it first came. Insane.
Was it more popular than the PlayStation or the Xbox?
Ooh, that I don't know the actual statistics. I feel like it was the original PlayStations and Xbox.
No, I mean
But yeah,
like whatever the
I
new
think it
ones
might be
are.
their most selling console than Super.
Wow, that's actually pretty popular. I mean, I guess it's technically two consoles, right? Because it's like a Game Boy plus a full.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it portable too, which is kind of
Right, right, right. Okay.
Nintendo always bringing out the crazy concepts.
They have Mario, I'm guessing. Is that
Yeah,
still the flagship game on Nintendo Switch? I don't remember.
and Zelda. Yeah,
And Zelda, right? Okay, so the
I think
same
that's
as what
it.
was in the '90s is now,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah. What? Why break
20 years
what's not
later.
broken? Yeah. Why change what's
Interesting.
not? Well, we should
So
go back to movies since that
yeah, I
was
was
like.
about to say as I yawned, the sun is like hitting my eyes, and you know what? Like when you're outside and you look at the sun, it just kind of like makes you
Yeah,
yawn.
your eyes are very thin right
Yeah,
now.
got thin eyes. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
wanted to. So I wanted to ask about movies. I wanted to talk about, um, and this is all just opinion based. Opinion based. There's no facts
Sure.
here. It's about um, when you're watching a movie. What do you consider to be like important? Doesn't have to be good, but important. So, for
It's important
example,
for a movie to be good.
no, okay, for you to like the movie, what are some important things about it that either have to be there, or have to, yeah, or let's say have to be good,
Right. So, um,
without the basics.
sometimes,
Basics.
right.
No,
So
it's
I'm
got
very much
sound and everything.
into, I'm very much into like into story, especially if it's an interesting concept that hasn't been like seen before. Big twists at the end. I like those types of movies. Um, yeah, being unexpected is makes it kind of impacting, right? A movie where you say, "Oh my god, I didn't expect that." That makes a big impact on
Yeah,
you. It makes it memorable when something comes unexpected. But at the same time, I do enjoy movies that have plenty of action
sure.
and almost no storyline, but the
Oh
action's
man.
really awesome. Like
Right, right.
I don't mind those movies either. Those are just fun
We
to
saw
watch.
one like
So,
that, I think, recently. Which one
which
was
one?
that? We saw had The Rock in it. Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
had zero story.
Yeah.
It was just let's fight. And it was just crazy
Jason
action.
Statham and The Rock together in a movie and just let all these explosions and action and
That's it.
holding a helicopter by chains,
Oh my
because
god.
Rock is just so strong. So,
This Captain America strength there.
yeah, exactly.
Oh. All right, so what would you say would be something that or some things that if they happen in movies, you're already upset. Like this thing happens and you're like, "Ugh, next.
My one of my biggest pet peeves is time travel.
Time travel."
Is one of my biggest pet
You
peeves
probably
because
mean poorly done time travel.
poorly done time travel. Yes,
Yeah.
because a lot of movies, the simplest way to show time travel is like the Back to the Future type of thing, where you're going back into your same timeline and you could have the future of your
Sure.
current time, which doesn't make sense. It's called the grandfather paradox, where if you kill your grandfather, then you die in the present. But if you died in the present, how did you go back to kill your
Right.
grandfather? So
Right.
that's like it's called the grandfather
Right.
paradox. So that doesn't make sense, and movies do it all the time. And
But it's
as
simple to
soon as they do it,
understand.
yeah, any TV show, movie that does it, I immediately hate it, and I'll stop watching the
Really. So
TV
you hate
show.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, it's one of more. It's like a nostalgic thing. When I was a kid, like that time travel thing I didn't really understand it.
Right,
It
right.
just made
Same.
sense to me. Just like, oh, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna affect my future. It
Right.
seems right.
Yeah,
But
for
when
kids
you're an
can grasp
adult
it.
and you start really thinking about it, you say that makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't. When you're a kid, you're totally fine with it. So
Right, right.
I watched it as a child, so it's totally. Back
Okay.
to the Future. And now Back to the Future is just nostalgic at this point. Nostalgia
Interesting.
works.
I mean,
How
that
about
still
yourself?
works. Yeah, so for me, I think the number one pet peeve, time travel was a good one, but I don't think that hits enough movies. My number one pet peeve is
Okay.
when they either kill the main character,
Oh, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
where can't watch a movie after that, especially if it's main character driven. So if the story's told through the eyes of the main character, then the main character dies. That's
Okay.
that's that that holistically is my biggest pet peeve because under there's a lot of little ones. So
So
like
like I Am Legend, you must have hated.
well they had a director's cut where he didn't die.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know
But yes, I did hate the ending of that. Um,
that. I
but
like it. Yeah.
But the other thing I don't like is under that is when they change perspective of the storytelling in the movie. So like I'm watching this movie the whole time. It's like a bird outside my window. Watching this movie the whole time and I'm getting one person's perspective so I only see, hear and know things that this character knows. And then all of a sudden they give me a different perspective in which I can now see, hear and you know like know things that this character couldn't.
Right.
That generally goes hand in hand with killing that character, which is
Right. Right.
weird because why wouldn't you have just told it from the grander perspective to begin with? Why did I have
Yeah.
to, so that's my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah. So to me, like killing the main character is fine as long as the main character has heroic.
You cut out.
I cut out. Okay.
Killing him is fine, but
Killing him is fine as long as the main character has some sort of heroic and
oh, like a
that.
reason to die.
Yeah, and you feel he sacrificed himself for greater good.
Sacrifice himself
That
for the
sort
greater
of
good.
like the self-sacrifice is a good story element
I see.
that I think. You don't always need happy endings. In real life, a lot of endings are bittersweet. So,
True. True. That actually, I'm going to add that to my list because I also don't like movies without happy endings, and not necessarily happy, but I don't want a realistic ending because I don't watch movies to be as depressed as I can get in real life. So like if guy and girl are dating and then the whole movie's about them trying to get together and at the end of the movie they don't get together, I'm kind of like
uh-huh.
I could have just went to go talk to my friends and I would have gotten that exact.
I could have just talked to that girl. I'm in the friend zone.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't need that movie for that. So yeah, I like it when they make it work.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I like it when things try to mimic real life. At the same time, I'm totally fine with happy ending. Everyone kind of likes when there's no loose ends.
Sure.
That's another
That's
thing
hard.
where
Yeah.
when a movie just ends and you have to figure out how the ending happens.
Oof,
I
that's
hate those.
tough. That's tough.
They just
Yeah.
leave it open. You don't know what happens.
Yeah. You're like, do I need to see
Was
it?
it all a dream?
Oh yeah, that's like that Inception movie. That was one that I definitely didn't like. That was
Yeah,
very
Inception.
similar to the time travel problem you suggested, where like once they started going into dreams, nothing was making sense anymore, and I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking like, this isn't even holding the story together now, and this is the story. So like,
I mean, it makes sense if the whole thing's a dream because at that point, no more rules. So,
yeah, but then yeah, exactly. Then like, why did you even make a movie? Like you could have just
right.
the movie could have been anything. Yeah, I like that. So I was curious because I think a movie is just the kind of thing that like everybody can talk about, but
Right.
I feel like everybody's very validated in their opinions of movies, and I know
Yeah.
you and me are opinionated.
Okay.
I think other people are too, especially in movies.
Right.
And so like if we were in a group setting and you were to just name any movie, there'll be somebody in that group that's probably gonna not like that movie, even if it
Oh
was a
yeah.
movie that most people like.
You get that. And not only that, but it's almost it gets heated.
Yeah.
Especially if you have something that breaks the mold, like your vision of a certain movie,
Sure.
because there seems to be a lot of times there's a consensus of whether a movie is good or bad, and
Right.
if you have an opposite viewpoint of that than the general
You're shunned.
population, yeah, you're shunned. How do you not think that was a great movie?
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely the case in a lot of movies. Star Wars series, they get it all the time.
Oh, true.
The there's
So many
there's this general
movies.
consensus which movies are the best, and they say all the newer movies, and the prequels, they're just all garbage.
Sure, sure.
I like some of them, especially episode.
Yeah, you're cutting
And
out, but essentially you're saying that they're all good parts of all the movies, and so it's tough
yeah,
to kind of
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, as to what you're saying, like it depends on the person, right? Everybody likes something different. And to go back, like what you said before, with multiple um, viewpoints from different people. I hate when they do movies um, where it's like you said, it's multiple angles, and not only that, multiple parts of the world or multiple timelines, and then
Oh
it's
yeah.
together at the end. But throughout the whole movie, I'm so going on.
So confused. Uh
What time are we
huh.
in? Who
and
is
it
this
and
person?
and I agree with you because that situation to me is a cop out where I feel
Right.
like a movie person, I'll call a movie person, but a person who maybe is in the movie industry or maybe a movie fanatic may look at that and say, well, it's a different way of storytelling. Look, you were surprised, you didn't know these facts and everything, but I'm like, yeah, you took pretty much a bland story and you chopped it up, so now I can't follow it, and then you said it's good. Really? So, like, I really could have just watched a regular movie.
Yeah, exactly. You could have
Yeah,
just
like,
made it follow like a clear timeline.
right.
No.
What's a movie that's done that? There's a bunch. I'm trying to think of one that's done something like
One I
that.
think I remember. I think it was called Taxi or something like that.
Haven't seen that
Um,
one.
but yeah, it was different people in different parts of the world, even, and then it just comes together near the end of the movie. Like all the characters somehow
Right.
interact either indirectly or directly. Saying, "Oh, this person killed this person, which affected this person on another part of
Dang.
the world." But you didn't. So you see
Right.
these indirect, and that's sort of what their driving thing is. Is the story is that your actions probably affect more than just
Sure, sure,
you and
sure.
your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that story was super confusing to
Oh
follow.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's okay to have that type of a story if you throw it in like a TV series. You want
Right.
to throw together 10 episodes and each episode is a different location and whatever, like fine, whatever you got to do. But for a movie, which you're only going to get like an hour to an hour and a half of real focused intent, if it's over an hour and a half, I feel like there's probably stuff in that movie that I didn't need.
Right.
Whether
Right.
we were looking at a tree or whether, somebody was pausing for an effect of dramaticness that I didn't care about.
Dramaticness.
Dramatic
I don't
effect.
know if that's a word.
Well, it is today in this movie, in this timeline. Yeah. So that's
um,
interesting. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that the only thing I've seen that does that really well is Game of Thrones.
What do you mean? All the different timeline views?
Not only the different timeline views, but the different character views, because it just keeps switching to
Yeah.
different
But
characters,
like I
and
said, that's also in a TV series,
that isn't a TV series.
which is different because you're not expected to, when you're done with the episode, have the full story. Like, there's
Right,
no expectation for that.
right. Also, it takes long, right?
Sure, it does
So
to tell the
it's
same
easier
story.
to join up these multiple storylines in 10 hours than you can
Right.
in 2.5. So
That's right.
or two.
That's right. Yeah, Game of Thrones is interesting because I started watching it like season 5 or something after it was
Right.
already a thing and everybody was watching it. And I remember being like, I'm very surprised, and I don't want to get into Game of Thrones too much, but I was just very surprised that this was so popular in terms of like medieval fantasy. In that
Yeah.
that genre doesn't produce a lot of movies. The TV shows I've seen beyond that is like Merlin, which I liked, but very, very other few. There's like a few dragon type movies, but why do you think that's just so popular for what it was?
I think it's they sort of catered a lot of stuff to the older audience, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel like fantasy is more for like a child.
Yeah, you
Did
just
I
completely
cut in?
you did cut in.
Yeah,
I should say it again.
yeah.
But something like a child
Oh no, I was trying to say that Game of Thrones is like they tried to center a lot of stuff for, and
tried to.
a lot of fantasy stuff is targeted towards younger audiences. But Game of Thrones, with all of its like sex and
The killing and the blood.
nudity and
Yeah.
killing, blood and treachery and
But it's not
you
the first show to have that, right?
in terms of fantasy,
Well, no, in terms of like an adult show.
no, but that's what I mean. So they took adult themes from adult shows and they put it in the fantasy theme,
Oh, okay.
and that's what it made it get so much attention.
I see.
It,
Almost
like,
like
so go ahead.
so almost as if we were to take Harry Potter and make it more like actually very similar to what it did. It got darker over the books and the movies.
Exactly, but imagine if Harry Potter was dark from the get go.
Oh, I see. It's a different
Yeah,
audience. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So at the beginning, it wasn't very dark because it was a children's story,
That's
and
right.
then it progressed with the same audience, and so she kept making those stories darker and darker,
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
have deeper, more complex relationships, and so
Yeah, I
yeah,
wonder
those
if
those things don't appeal to children, and
no.
fantasy has been, for some reason, portrayed as
That's
a
true.
children's
Maybe
theme
because
a lot
games
of
are
times.
fantasy based. Like if you were to play like a game, fairies, dragons, knights.
So again, games in the past that were fantasy themed were like catered towards more children, right? With
Yeah, yeah.
dragons and saving
Right,
princesses and things like
exactly.
that. It was sort of the Disney type of thing where the knight has to fend off the dragon and save the princess. That was the
Right, right,
fantasy.
right, right.
But these days, a lot of these fantasy video games gotten very dark, very violent,
Oh
and
yeah.
they'll even show nudity and stuff like that. The Witcher, for
Oh,
instance,
that's
is
right.
another one that just came out that's fantasy based, and started watching it dark again.
Oh. Oh,
The
you're
Elder
watching it a second
Scrolls.
time?
No, no.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say
That's
I.
actually something I wanted to say about movies. I rarely ever watch movies more than once, so that never makes me expert. So I'll
So
never
that's
say I'm an
so
expert.
that's interesting because I always wondered, do people do that? Because I knew that about you. You're over here in this pile where you're watching movies or shows kind of once and done. Then there's
Yeah, that's because there's too many. I can't
well, you
avoid
have
one.
an open mind when it comes to these things. So
Right,
you feel like there's a lot. I feel like I'm more on the other spectrum, which is I don't think a lot of them are good that I watch.
right,
So like the ones I like, I watch again. And so there's
right.
obviously a spectrum, but I'm wondering where do you think most people fit
In terms of
in terms of watching shows and movies? And maybe we separate it because once I said shows, I got to thinking there's probably a lot of people that rewatch The Office and Friends and Parks and Rec and these like s- single camera sitcoms, I think they're called, where like
right,
there's
right,
no canned laughter in it, but it's still a sitcom.
sure.
Um, and then
That's like
like
The Office, yeah. But
right.
there's sitcoms that have laughter, like Friends and Scrubs. And,
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah, you're cutting
my
out, but
sister,
people also watch that too. Yep.
yeah.
I'll just say what you said if you cut out.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
No, my sister, she watches Scrubs and Friends over and over again.
Just on repeat.
Yeah, she loves the show to the extent that she'll just keep rewatching it. To
I mean,
me, there's too much out there to limit myself on a show. I can watch a show and love it, and I'll be totally fine with rewatching. But I need to experience even more of stuff that's out there, and it's impossible. I don't have enough time in the day to do that
jeez, you need
if
more.
I'm rewatching stuff at the same time.
So we need to make you like a TV show quarantine checklist to
Yeah,
make sure
pretty
you
much. Yeah.
hit the shows. I mean, what are some
I'm already starting that.
what are some shows you're watching now that are really good? I don't want to hear the crap ones.
What?
What are some good ones that you've watched or are watching and you're like, yeah, that was good. I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I spent 10 hours watching this.
Trying to think of the new Sabrina series. I like that a lot.
That's a
But
remake of the original from our
the
generation.
remake, yes, yeah, and
Okay.
that's what made me want to watch it to begin with. But the show is it teeters on the line of like being a children's show or being an adult show.
Sabrina was always like that too, though. I never really liked it, but
Right.
I think that was because some of the jokes were above my head as a kid when I saw it. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, this new show, like, because she's a witch, which is dark,
yeah,
but at the same time she wants to be human, which is good, and
sure.
so there's like this like good versus evil
Oh, okay.
type of
I
line
thought,
that she's
yeah.
been teetering
Is
on,
is that cat? Excuse me. Is that cat still in it?
Salem. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, but he doesn't talk.
What?
No,
He
it
was
doesn't talk.
always a sarcastic, jerky cat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's because the old Sabrina was like a comedy, right?
Yeah, yeah. This one's not a comedy.
No, this one's a drama for sure.
And so none of the same characters.
There's still a lot of the same characters. Well, there's still, Sabrina, her two aunts, Salem,
Oh,
and
but it's like
boyfriend
told.
Harvey.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Harvey. He was dumb, right, in the
yeah,
show.
yeah. They made him dumb when this show first started, and then they just changed his character
Now
entirely.
he's a genius.
Now he's a witch hunter, and you're like, what? His whole family's been
What?
witch hunters, so then it creates this dynamic of like her love interest, is supposed to be hunting
Romeo and
her.
Juliet style.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay, okay.
And then
So,
they just threw that whole arc out the window.
oh no.
Typical TV show fashion.
How many seasons are there of that one?
I think 3.
Okay, so it's worth 3 seasons. Yeah, that's another one of my pet peeves is that even if it's a good series, if it doesn't have more than one season, I'm hesitant to watch it, just because I'll see it. Actually, it happened to me 2 years ago. I saw this movie, the series. Oh shoot, I think I recommended it to you, but I don't think you watched it. The concept was like they were gonna send people into space. It's on Netflix, and then that was back in like the 50s, and the whole show is like you're in this massive colonization spaceship, like
Uh-huh.
with some of the best, smartest people in the world, like following the drama of like when we get to wherever we're getting, we're gonna colonize, and like multi
Okay.
generations happen in there. So like they have kids, and their kids are gonna have kids, and like they're gonna be the ones that get to the planet. But there's a mega twist at the end that the show was okay, but then like when you get to the twist, you're like mind blown. Now I'm ready for the show. Yeah. And they ended, I think like episode 8 or 9 is when you find out about the twist, and then you're
Right,
kind of
right.
like, oh my goodness, I can't wait for season 2, and then they canceled it.
Yeah, no,
So
I feel like they do it. They do that stuff.
that really hurts my heart when they do that.
Yeah.
So
Firefly was a great show. Canceled.
yeah, I never saw that, but the Big Bang
Oh,
Theory brings that show up a lot.
yeah, it's a classic
Yeah.
nerd show.
Is it? There are some shows that they do kind of tie off. I saw Continuum a few years ago, which was a really good show. That had time travel in it too.
Oh no.
Done semi well.
Okay.
Pretty good, but it had 5 seasons. And at the end of the 5th season, it was all tied off. And the concept was really cool. The concept of it was in the future there's a kid, well, I guess in the present there's a kid who ends up creating software that essentially enables people to like take a technological jump. Right? It's like kind of the
Okay.
stuff we're thinking about now. It's like what if everything had a computer in it, and the computer was smart enough to know all these things and automate all the boring parts of life.
I feel like that's already the case. Like my whole life is being monitored.
That's true. I mean, I always
Opposite
worry about our
real.
phones. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. No,
you
another show I watched recently is Ozark.
I heard that was good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, if you like Breaking Bad,
Yeah, didn't like that.
sort of in the same. You
But
didn't
yeah.
like Breaking Bad?
No.
Uh,
Yeah, I
but
think
sort of in
I
the
think
same
I'm the
concept.
minority in that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we could talk about fast forward TV watching. We got like 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Breaking Bad's one of the shows perfected that technique when I was
I
watching
can't
it.
believe you fast forward watch shows.
So here's
You need
how.
to explain to people
All right. So here's
the
how it works.
monstrosity that you did. Okay.
This is a technique you can use to better your TV watching experience when you're dealing with a show that maybe isn't the greatest.
So
And
so you know how Jim says he rewatches a lot of shows.
that's true. They do
He
not get
rewatches a
fast
lot.
forwarded.
I'm fine with that. I completely understand that, but that's how he has time to watch new shows and his old shows because the new shows just get fast forwarded.
That's so true. That's so true. So I recently watched this show, a few episodes of it. It came up like number one, Too Hot to Handle on Netflix. You probably saw the thing, right? It was like
Is that like the dating
the
one?
dating, like
Why would you even
sex
watch
one.
that?
Watch anything. And I like shows that are similar. Like I like there's a season of there's a type of The Bachelor called Bachelor in Paradise, where they take all the losers of The Bachelors and they put them together on an island.
Uh-huh.
And that I like. That's the level of drama that the teenage girl in me can handle. So what I do is, and it's kind of a technique. There's two pieces to it. The first is scenery. Scenery always gets fast forwarded, and it's pretty easy to tell when scenery's coming because they usually zoom in or zoom out. So
Right.
if they're zooming in or zooming out, immediately get that thumb ready. Boop, right? Saves you like 20, 30 seconds right
And so
there.
you just fast forward to
when the
actual
scene
drama parts.
to when anything else is happening. Like I don't need to see the bad CGI. Like it's a TV show. It's not a movie, right? So I don't need to see the green screen struggle to render the trees. So
Okay.
so that's the first, and that's really common in any show that's got a lot of episodes. So like Game of Thrones is a good example. Breaking Bad's a great example where like a character's going to go to someone's house, right? So in the show Breaking Bad, the main character will get in his car, he'll drive to the other guy's, I forget his name already, the other guy's house, he'll park in front, he'll wait a little bit, he'll then get out and go in the door, right? And it's like building up the scene.
When you do this, you
Yeah.
ruin the pacing of the episode or the show,
Uh-huh.
and it makes it seem impatient.
Yeah.
You're just like you're fast forwarding to all the good parts, and so it doesn't seem very good because you fast forwarded to everything in the episodes quickly. You're just like, that's it. That was the whole episode. All right, next one. Good God, this
Why
show's
would
awful.
you ever put bad parts in the episode? Like
That's
I
the
don't.
bad parts are there for pacing. They're
I don't
there
need that.
for-
I don't need that. I don't need pacing.
They're there to
I'm-
convey like suspense. They're there to convey drama. You can't just fast forward to every single talking part and then just say, "Oh man, this whole story."
Well, that's not what I do. It's only for we're only in the first piece of fast forwarding. So the scene, so that's a good example though. The Breaking Bad one's a good example, right? So as soon as I see him get in his car, I'm just like, boop, right? And right when he enters the door in the guy's house, okay, there's still, even after the fast forward, there's still a good 10 to 15 seconds of me waiting for something to happen. Where he'll open
Right.
the door and he'll look around or whatever, and he'll be like, wow, this place is a mess to himself, and you're just kind of like, whenever you're ready, man, I'm ready, So that's the first one, and that's a useful tool for these longer series. The second one is a little trickier. This is one that you really gotta have the skill. This is fast forwarding through not only scenery but conversations and action.
What?
On the show? Yeah.
What are you even watching at that point?
So a good example of this, let me think, like of a show that sucked that I fast. Oh, I mean, taking that show Too Hot to Handle as an example is a bad one because the show is just pretty bad. So everything is really worthwhile to fast forward through. Let me think of
not watch the show.
Yeah, let me think of another show that I've seen recently that I fast forward through. The Talking.
Who are
Can't
you
think of
talking to?
can't think of one
Oh
off the
my
top of my
god.
head. I literally just did it. I literally just did it last night on that show. But essentially, here's the concept of it. The concept is two characters are going to start talking, and you already know the outcome because the story is poorly written. All right.
Right.
I don't need to know the words. If I know that the outcome's going to happen, and that's what I skip. So to watch this girl, and this guy have an argument, I'm fine with that. I'll save 2 minutes. Boom, right through.
That's the whole point of watching that show. It's the drama of those
Oh, so
quote unquote reality TV.
yeah, so like the cringy conversations, I'm fine skipping. I love the after effect, the physical breakdown, where where they leave their conversation.
It sounds more like you're a masochist. You're just like, I'm depressed right now. Let me just watch depressing parts of the show.
This
show
is like
has got to have a bunch of depressing parts. Let me fast forward to all the depressing parts.
feel my pain. That was a bad example for that show, but I do it for other shows that are good too. A lot of them have it, but like, it's hard to explain without a TV show. I don't
now,
do
do
it.
You ever go too far past, and you're like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then you have to rewind.
Yeah, the worst.
I would rip my hair from my head watching TV with you.
So it's a skill, so you obviously have to hone it. And the more you do it, the better you are. And like you can get to the point where like when they're staring at each other, fast forward say 5 seconds, right? Like just for the
really
stare.
Need to save 5 seconds of your life for staring.
Dude, 5 seconds every minute could add up to an extra show by the end of the night. but you are right. I probably make the mistake more often than I'd like to admit, where I fast forward too far. It's usually not an issue, but it does become an issue when you fast forward too far. And then you are into the next scene, and that scene tells you something. And now you're like, oh my god. Now I don't know what they said.
You got the surprise ruined.
Not the surprise ruined. That is, it's a double-edged sword.
No, it's not. You should just watch a TV or a movie in the way it's intended to be watched.
True. Yeah.
Have you ever just tried to watch something at like 1.5 speed?
Yes. So that was a suggestion.
I'll do YouTube videos.
That was a suggestion given to me, and it's very interesting because I think I'm okay with that. But then it's that weird feeling when you almost, and for those people who play video games, when you're playing the video game for your whole life on the normal speed, then you play on the fast speed, and you're like, for the first few minutes, you're like, well, this is really fast. But then you get used to it. You can never go back to normal. You go back to normal, and people are talking so slowly, you're going to die. So I try to stay away from that. Yeah,
it's weird that you get used to that fast speed to the point that, it's like you're watching just a normal.
That's right. It's right.
Half.
That's right. So my sister and I tried the Eminem challenge thing just with each other. He offered like some sort of a rap challenge up where he has a song that he raps really fast. And the challenge was like you just hashtag under it on Instagram, whatever, and you rap it. And we were like trying it and we couldn't do it. And she loves Eminem, so that's why I bring it up.
Sure.
But when you try to learn it, you watch his video at like let's say half speed, and then like 3/4 speed, and then like full speed, and you try to say it like him, right? One of the entries that I was on Instagram looking at, the girl did it at 1.25 speed, like 1.25. And I was just like, what is happening here? I can't understand anything. Speeding through it.
I think he actually goes down in like the Guinness Book of World Records for one of like
the fastest rappers in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Like he's like he speaks incredibly,
Interesting.
To try to mimic that and to even go order faster means you're probably one of the fastest speakers.
Oh yeah. Well, that's that.
World or country.
That's also a skill too. Like as we practice, just in a few hours, we were just back and forth like chatting, my sister and I. Like just a few times, you can do it much faster. So I do think it's something you could probably have done if you practiced every day. Like most things, but we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So
who wants to try to as fast as they can?
Oh man.
When you're in quarantine, what else are you gonna do?
That's true. Yeah. So before we go, maybe you could give us some idea of your favorite way of watching shows, because you seem to have a different way of watching than me, and you'd like to watch a lot of new things. So is there a technique that you use? Does it
No,
involve like
you get
Cheetos?
very
Is
you get
mental
very
state?
comfortable.
Okay.
You put yourself in a blanket. You lie down on a couch. You get like snacks and or some Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, not a sponsor yet. Wait,
Yeah,
so
you just
you're
watch it. But I
describing.
have so I like to watch shows eating, um, and to the point that it's a ritual at the,
Ooh.
where I need to stop no matter what I'm doing. I don't know if you've seen it in the past. I'm sure you must have semi noticed it, where I say, "No, it is lunchtime. No, it is dinner time.
Yeah, you do that all the time. It's kind of
I
awkward.
need to like stop what I'm doing and go and eat lunch and dinner." It's
Yeah.
because it not only involves eating lunch and dinner, it involves me watching a TV show at the same time and just relaxing and not doing much from that for about an hour. You know,
You're a weird boy.
it's so nice.
So
It's a
I
nice ritual.
so I want to get
You
at.
eat, you relax, you watch some TV, and then you
Yeah.
can go back and do all.
I think that decompression time everybody needs. I'm
Yeah,
talking about you're gonna watch a show. Like you're gonna watch maybe 3 or 4 episodes of a show, right? Are
I
you at
rarely do that. I'll rarely even I'll
what?
rarely go with the intention of watching multiple episodes. I watch if it's an hour, watch one episode at lunch, then do whatever, then watch another episode at dinner, and then wait till the next day and then watch the next episodes. That's why TV takes forever for me to watch.
This is why we have the problem of you not watching these shows. I finally got to it. You have to realize this is a commitment now, and you're
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
sacrificing sleep to get
whoa.
these
What?
shows. So, to give you an example, I'm the complete opposite. I won't watch a show unless I have the intention, and I think we're getting to an underlying root here of the distinction between our two groups of people, right?
Right.
You'll watch a show and you're okay being like, I'll watch an episode today, an episode tomorrow, etc., etc. I'm not going to watch any episodes of a show unless I have the commitment in my mind I'm going to watch all of them as soon as possible.
What?
Yes.
You go in with the intention of binge watching.
Right. So with Stranger
I've never
Things,
had that.
when Stranger Things season 2 came out, everyone was like, you should watch Stranger Things, you'll like it. I watched Stranger Things that night all the way into the morning and then just went to work.
What?
I just
You're
Stranger
insane.
Things, and that was that. So
I
so
do know a lot of people that are like you, and people like me piss people like you off because
outside of
you're gonna
movies
want
or
to talk about the show, and you can't because I'm like, no, I
That's
haven't.
right.
You need to like give me a few
That's
weeks
right.
to
Oh,
finish
no
this
way.
show.
Oh, so I guess they could, but then that would break the friendship.
Yeah, no, don't.
So I wanted to get at. So it sounds like we finally understand the differences here, and maybe there are more categories, right, than just the two that we have,
Oh,
because
definitely.
that would also explain why you don't watch I'll call them reruns, right? Shows you've already seen, because you're always having time to see the next one, and you're always looking forward to the next episode. Whereas I never want to start something new unless it's good. Somebody said it was good. I know it's going to be worth my time, and then I'll watch it all, which leads me to only watching the reruns because
Right.
I need that that validation from you, let's say, to say, Jim, watch this. It's really good. Then I'll
Yeah.
do it. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
You're one category I could definitely think a lot of people is people who are like you, but their main TV watching is actually cable TV. Like they'll
Oh,
just sit and watch cable TV, and that's like their TV time. But they will have moments where they'll binge watch an entire night.
oh, so they're gonna watch like from 6 to 10, let's say, a set of shows that come on cable every day.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, this is my show. I need to watch
Yeah,
it.
you're definitely
At
right.
this time. There's
Yeah.
definitely people. There's definitely people like that. My parents. That's how they watch stuff. They'll only watch other things on Netflix. Going to sleep. you know,
Wow. They're
on
kind of
their
like whatever.
iPad thing. They don't really care about Netflix. That's why it's really hard when they come over to my place and they want to watch TV, and I say, okay, what do you guys want to watch on Netflix? They're like, oh God, I don't know what's gonna be good,
Ah.
because they just would rather just put on cable, watch whatever random things on the Food Network today, and at night
Right.
watch their shows.
So
You
I
know,
think there's an underlying psychological piece to this, and that is the fact that, and I read this somewhere. I don't know if it's true, but because you feel like you've seen the show before, like let's just talk about reruns,
uh-huh.
and you're comfortable with the character, you feel happy watching the show. Like you feel better because you feel like
Right,
you're with your friends. Like these characters are my friends. I know what's going to happen and it's all good and we're all going to be together and happy.
right,
Watching a new show, you don't have that feeling.
right,
So maybe,
right. Yeah, I
that's
mean,
it.
there's the feeling of the unknown. Um,
Exactly.
I guess I'm more of the adventurous type,
You are.
and
You are.
and you're more of the,
I'm a
you
hermit
know,
type. We
yeah, the
keep in our
hermit.
our bubble,
Yeah,
and you're
with
like
the
the
same
sparrow.
old group of
That's
friends that you're used to.
right. We hide in our TV show circle, and you fly like a free bird.
That's right. Anything that.
Yeah. So we're getting close to time here, but I still want you to answer that part of the question, which
Which
was,
one?
you're gonna watch show. Let's say you're gonna binge. Okay. Let's say it's gonna be at least 2 episodes. All right. Um, what is your situation like? Are you the kind
I
of
just told you.
person? So
Like,
that couch position is your watching position.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're not a
So
bed watcher or like a while you're on the computer side TV watcher. Like there's a lot of different ways you could do it.
no, when I go to bed, I don't typically watch TV. Watch random YouTube videos. Um, play games on my phone.
Right. Right.
Read a book. I
Right.
do at night. TV is only lunch and dinner, and sometimes when I feel lazy after dinner, I'll keep watching some TV.
Okay.
For the most part, I'm pretty busy, so just lunch,
So
dinner, and that's it.
So in quarantine, has your TV schedule changed? Like, are you able to get
Yeah,
in more shows now?
yeah. Now I end up watching way more TV. I really thought
Okay,
it would be more
binger.
video game playing, but I just get tired. I'm just like, I just want
Right, right,
to
right.
just lie on the couch and just
Well, because
binge
also
watch a
during
bunch of shows.
quarantine, we're like you're talking to people, like you're talking to me right now.
Right.
Not to say it's a bad thing, but it does wear on you. You know, you're a little exhausted when you're done talking to people all day, and you
Yeah,
want
and
to
I think
just
there was
veg.
like a study show recently about called like Zoom fatigue or something like that,
Really?
where people can get exhausted from these virtual calls happening all day long. You know,
Oh wow.
like there's a new thing that people are getting, you know, psychologically, like there's a toll
Is that
psychologically on
why? Is
people.
that why I'm the way I am?
I
Because
guess
that's
so.
that's
You
all
just
my
have
job
too
is.
much virtual interaction. You need to have face
That's right. At my
interaction.
work, for those who don't know, at my work, I do a lot of virtual calls, and it is weird. And I always did wonder that, like, because you treat people differently on the internet, even if
Yeah,
they're real life people, which they are, and you can see them, and like, you're talking about work, you treat them differently than when you're
right.
in person with someone, and obviously everybody at work is their own level of, I don't want to say fake, but like. Uh, no, their own level of like work
Sounds like fun.
personality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
like
like
work personality.
yeah. Everyone's
Like
got their work personality, their friend personality. You
right,
know,
right, right. And so when you're at work, you have that work personality on, and then you're also talking to people, and you're trying to get something done, right? And when you disagree at work, it's like everything is done by consensus. So I can imagine that there's a lot of that strain of I got to be talking to another person who has to agree, and then talk to another person, and then
right, right. You need to get people on your
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
side.
man.
You have to play work
Work what? What did you call it?
work politics.
Oh man. I'm sure we can save that topic for another time, I think, since
Oh
we're
sure,
out of
yeah.
time here. Yep. So thank you everybody again for joining. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and whatever podcast service you listen to. We're listed at Creativity Level 0. You see it also under Steve on the video. And at Instagram, we are at Creativity _level _ the number 0. So thanks so much for everybody, and catch you next time.
Thanks.